All right. Well, hi everybody. It's really great to see you. Thanks for joining us. So just so everybody knows, or we're on the same page. You've all joined us on our webinar. What kind of marketer do you really need? With Jade Reese, who's here with us today. If
Hello.
you were on our previous webinar with storybook marketing a few weeks ago, you might have heard from them that Jade was the instrumental person who helped them hire the right kind of marketer for the business to properly scale their agency. And so this is Jade's superpower here at MarketerHire. So he's graciously volunteered to help us with his time to gain clarity into some of these roles that we're looking to hire. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mason. I'm the lead marketer for MarketerHire, and I'll be your host today. So I'm going to just quickly put in the chat box here. If you have any questions as we move forward, please raise your hand. That would be really good. Or you can submit them in the Q&A or the chat box. And so just quick overview. This is the agenda today. We're going to start with introductions. We're going to talk about what to consider for your hiring needs when you're starting to hire. And then we're going to go over the 11 most popular marketing roles that we see over here at MarketerHire. And then if things go well, we're going to have a real live audience demo, where Jade's going to kind of go through his framework to help them identify a marketer. And then finally, we're going to talk about the process to actually get you custom matched with a marketer from our platform. So, okay, enough of me yapping. Jade, why don't you quickly introduce yourself and tell me about your role here?
Yeah, my name is Jade. I just hit my third year here at MarketerHire. As you can see on the screen, I am a senior growth manager here and key account manager. What that means is I take calls with pretty much all clients that come through our pipeline, but I tend to specialize in some of the partnerships that we make with larger corporate accounts, VCs, and private equity as well. That said, I talk to people from the local business mom and pop shop who only has like one or two employees, all the way up to large hundreds, if not thousands, of employee accounts and give recommendations on everything in between. And yeah, just really, I come from a marketing background. I used to do social media management at an agency. I kind of learned that agencies have their own problems, and those problems led to me looking for something else. And that's how I found MarketerHire and just really was excited about the value prop that they had when you look at them versus an agency and decided to apply. And things have been great ever since. Still very much believe in what we are doing and always excited to see how we are building towards the ultimate goal of just providing really solid marketing help in a fast and easy way.
Awesome. I'm going to stop the share for a sec just so we can all look at your face here. But can you tell us a little bit more about the role of a growth manager at MarketerHire? And I guess why is it important for people who are considering to hire to talk to a growth manager? Why can't you do them yourself?
Yeah, there's nuance in marketing in really every stage. So, depending on where you're at, it's good to speak with one of our growth managers to just make sure, one, if you have a very specific idea of what you need, to make sure you're on the right fit. And then we can go through that to understand what the needs are at a deeper level and get a search started to make sure we're finding the right candidate. On the other side of things, if you have no idea what you need and you're like, I just need marketing done, then we can also give more guidance and help get that into a little bit more streamlined plan and then find someone who can do that for you. And that's just like the initial scoping session. Outside of like that initial matching process, I'm there to also do ongoing check-ins, make sure the engagement is running well. If there's ever any problems with the marketer, I can step in and help out. If things are going well, I always like to get those status updates as well. But it's really more about like making sure that you are getting the right fit from the start and then feeling supported throughout the entire process from then on. And then if additional needs come up, identifying whether it's a good time to start that or not. But really, the initial function is just understanding what the needs are. If you don't know exactly what the needs are, giving guidance around those, and then helping you get a search started. In those first few days, I'm essentially like a scoping matchmaker for a lot of the clients that come through.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I wanted to dig a little deeper into kind of like when somebody's first interested in hiring. why doesn't, why can't we just send in a job description and get matched? I guess like what what kind of elements are there do you feel like a growth manager is like really necessary?
Well, digging into what parts of it are actually important to try to find the specific talent. And I guess on the other side of that, not to give a nuanced answer here, but if you ever want to just send me a job description, I'm happy to help find talent that way as well. But I do find that conversation helps really make sure that we are on the same page, the expectations are clear, the scope is clear. And then we vet based on skill sets as well. And I find that a lot of job descriptions will vet based on years of experience. While most of our marketers do have a good amount of years of experience, well, all of them do, we primarily focus on finding someone who is uniquely qualified to do the actual work that you are looking for. So we vet based on skill set. And I find a lot of job descriptions we receive look for like, I want 7 years of experience. And like, I know this is a tangent, but a like social media marketer who manages paid ads on social media, they have 7 years of experience and haven't changed anything since 2017. They're not going to be as valuable as someone who maybe only has 4 years of experience, but has kept up with all the changes over that timeline. So making sure that we know what you're looking for and finding an expert who can do that for you is really important in that scoping session.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. I guess before hiring, like, what do you advise all of us as marketing leaders or business owners to have in place or to think about to kind of achieve the best success?
Understanding where the problems are, and if you don't know where the problems are, then I can help find someone who can find those problems for you. But if everything's going well and you're having perfect results and everything, then you're likely not booking the call in the first place. So really understanding what the issues are, what you're trying to solve, digging deep into those, and then once we understand where the problems that you're trying to solve are, much easier to give guidance onto how to get those addressed.
I see. That makes sense. And a lot of times when we kind of think about the problem we have to be solved, um, typically there are three routes that an owner or a marketing leader can go through. One is hiring an agency, right? The second one is full-time hire, and then one is through the freelancer route, which is what MarketerHire offers. I guess, how do we think through those, and what are some of the pros and cons in your experience?
Yeah, the I will say we can also provide full-time hires as well. So we do have like a contract to hire option if that's something that you're interested in, or you can do try before you buy. I find that the contracting positions through us are very valuable because we deal with channel specific experts. So whereas something may be like a full-time marketing role, it doesn't mean it is one person doing that full-time work. Maybe it's a growth marketer who's managing the strategy and ad spend at 20 hours a week, a social media manager who's managing the organic presence at 10 hours a week, and then an email marketer. But you can actually build out a team with channel specific experts. Those experts will be a lot more efficient with their time and able to get a lot more done within that time. So rather than one person who's spreading themselves thin and just doing barely enough to get the work done, you're working with experts who understand the channels deeply. On top of that, there's a lot more flexibility with something like our resource where we have open-ended month-to-month contracts. You're not locked into anything long-term. There's no hidden fees. We don't take any percentage of ad spend or anything like that. So it's a very straightforward process that's catered to whatever the needs are at the time. And then you can scale up, scale down, or end whenever you need. No obligation through the process either. So you only are looking to bring someone on board after the interview. The interview doesn't go well, we'll rematch or close things out. So that's kind of us versus the full-time hire. The agency side of things, as I mentioned, I come from an agency background, so I'm a little bit like jaded, I guess, in that respect. The agencies tend to be an okay option for people who just need everything done and just kind of getting things done at a really low cost. Where they end up having issues is when you need to make changes, cancel, or if things aren't going well. The agency I worked at, I had 65 clients and I was working 40 hours a week. So no one was getting more than 15 to 20 minutes of my time in any given week. There was a long-term contract. If you tried to cancel it, you had to pay the full value of the contract. They took like a 30% cut on any ad spend. So there was a lot of things there where it was actually working against the client that we were working with. Whereas here, you're just paying for a bucket of hours from a marketer who's providing that time, no hidden fees. That marketer is dedicating that time to you to give a customized approach based on their expertise and skill level. And you're getting a lot more value out of that compared to just the same cookie cutter approach that every client is getting at an agency.
Hmm. Of course, not all agencies are spread out like that. There are actually some really good agencies like the one we heard a couple of weeks ago, and some of their secret power is marketer hire, right? Like to get
Yeah,
that.
and I will say, not to just like completely like say agencies have no place. They are very good in some respects. If you need someone who's just handling all of the marketing and just want one point of contact, an agency can be really valuable. You can also supplement an agency with a contractor if you want to bring in like a growth marketer to manage the agency to make sure they're actually meeting the expectations of current marketing best practices. Um, with the caveat here that obviously I'm biased, but I do think that we have a really unique product. And on top of that, we even work with agencies to provide talent to some of them as well. That said, I do see Kirby is raising their hand.
Yes, I think Kirby will get to you very soon. I think we're going to start getting into the meat of the program right now. We're going to first just go through some of the roles that we offer at Marketer Hire. And let's just kind of go through. So these are the 11 most popular marketing roles that we frequently match. Can we all see our screen, by the way?
I could
Okay,
see it on my end.
great. Yeah. So let's just first talk about a few of these. Like, what would you say, Jade, is like the top three roles that you frequently match? And let's just start with that.
Yeah. Number one, growth marketer. Number two is going to be an email marketer. And then I'd say pretty much everything is pretty evenly split within there. Maybe social media and content are kind of tied. Um, but
Okay.
it's pretty evenly split after you get past the growth marketer and email marketer. Those are definitely our most popular too.
Okay. And so can you maybe let's just go through the growth marketer. I think I have a slide here. So here are some like example projects. I guess tell me like what are some of the like let's just go through them. Like what are some of the most popular growth marketer projects? In
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, a growth marketer, we describe them as CMO light. So they're able to put together an overall marketing strategy, and then where they differ from a CMO is they can also execute within that strategy for you. Not quite a generalist, but the closest thing that we would offer to one. Their skill sets tend to be very technical. They can do some, as mentioned here, like creative copy, but what they primarily would be working on is like the technical sides of marketing. So managing paid ad spend, maybe doing some basic email optimizations. They can do conversion rate optimization on the websites and any other channels that you are testing out. As the name implies, the overall goal is to get growth. So that's what they're aiming for. And they're looking at the holistic marketing strategy as well as every channel to see where they can achieve that growth for you. Where I see them placed best is if someone just wants to have like one marketing person who's doing a majority of the things for them, that's going to be the resource. Someone doesn't necessarily know where to start, and this is their first steps into marketing, a growth marketer is going to be the best place to start. Um, and then once you start getting into like a specific problem to solve, that's where we start getting into a lot of our channel specific experts. So the other 10 roles that we offer.
Got it, got it. So if I'm hearing you correctly, like this, is there the certain profile of companies that you recommend the growth marketer for are maybe more of a startup or smaller company? Tell me a little bit more about actually how if there is a pattern between the types of profiles of companies.
Yeah, I'd say because I work with all and I've placed growth marketers at every stage of company. So I guess going into where the
Okay.
value is at each level, maybe a different way of framing that. So for earlier stage companies, small business, local businesses, things like that, growth marketer is going to be great because you likely don't need someone who's giving you 10 hours a week on just managing like a specific channel, rather someone who can be a little bit more scrappy and step between things. If you don't have a full team and you need someone who can support and like maybe manage one or two resources on your team, growth marketer is going to be great there as well. On the other side of that, for our larger clients, I frequently place growth marketers as like a VP of marketing,
Mm.
director of marketing type of role. So someone who's coming in and using their talents to put together that overall marketing strategy and optimize while also managing the team to then execute. So there are different use cases depending on the size of the company and what stage you are at. But I think that just about any size of company tends to have some sort of value they can get out of a growth marketer.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess so. You mentioned too, like the difference between growth marketer and like CMO role. Like we do offer a fractional CMO. Can you dive a little bit more into the differences there?
Yeah, the fractional CMO is the most senior level marketing person that you can have on a team. They tend to focus primarily on strategy and team management, and that is strategy as it relates to every aspect of marketing. So they can help with like branding, positioning, PR, like everything underneath the marketing umbrella. However, they tend to not be the ones who are actually executing that strategy and usually need some sort of support, be that a team, a different resource, or an assistant or something like that. Where they differ from a growth marketer is the growth marketer can do things very similarly. The scope is a little smaller, so they may not be focusing so much on like PR campaigns or overall like brand positioning. They're primarily looking at how to optimize where things are at right now and then get them to scale. They can
Got it.
execute as well, and it's a very data-driven role. We generally recommend a growth marketer for earlier stage companies who don't have a team to support, whereas we recommend a CMO if you have a full team and you just need someone who's coming in and really digging deep into the marketing strategy and managing that team.
Awesome. No, that's really helpful. Before I lose these two, I have two people who raised their hand. I think we're going to start with, I think, was it
Kirby
Kirby?
raised their hand
Kirby who
first.
raised hands first. So let me allow you to talk, Kirby, and I'm going to promote you to a panelist. All right, Kirby, if you're on right now, feel free to unmute and ask your question. And actually, Kirby, why don't you introduce yourself first? And we received a question from you about, you have a freelance virtual assistant executive manager who handles most of your email marketing, and you have online products and services that you're focused on, and you kind of want to know a little bit more. So if you could introduce yourself a little bit, tell us more about your problem, or what you're wondering about. That would be really helpful for Jade to kind of do this quick live demo with you.
Hi, Jay. Hello, everybody, on this call today. Thanks for having me and thanks for entertaining my question. So I am a musician, an online music instructor. I am an artist. I have my website, www.kirbydtrim.com, and I offer online lessons there. I offer my services on bass and guitar for those Christian artists who wants to create a single or EP or full album. I offer my services there, and I also have my own line of apparel and accessories, like teacups and bags and things like that. So I have been working along with a couple of freelancers. One person handles most of the email marketing, and she helps create the copy. Um, I do have a mailing list, and I use MailChimp, and my website is WordPress, and primarily this freelancer, she takes care of the email copy. I'll give her some ideas and she'll put it together. She keeps in mind all of the important things to keep in mind, and just creating an email subject, making things, just easy on the eyes to look at. She helps me remember that maybe I should put as many things into one email. Try and space this out a little bit more. She'll schedule it, etc. She'll share it with me and things like that. She also has helped me with some YouTube marketing, just kind of managing my promotion, and has provided recommendations on which video to post and how to do it, how to make the budget work, etc., etc. I also
Yeah.
have a freelancer who does the web development. he's done an excellent job so far. And, he's kind of just been walking me through the stages and some of the things that I have not do yet. He's helping me to make those choices and get to where, to expand my business and my reach and what's not. Yeah, I'm definitely at the place where I would like to see some more growth, see some more incoming online revenue for both the products and services. So, when I saw this MarketerHire Zoom call and what you were going to discuss, I said, let me check it out. Let's see what else I can learn from this Zoom today.
Yeah, thank you for that quick overview too. Just for a couple of quick follow-up questions here. One, how long have you been doing this this business on your end? How long has it taken you to build up this far?
Okay, well, I originally started the website in 2013.
Nice.
And yeah, so I've been through several stages of development. So I think right now the website is on maybe its fourth build, and it's the most user friendly for mobile, etc. And my store is also an e-com, and I use Equid, and I also
Oh, I think we're losing you, Kirby. Just for the I guess for the sake of time, sorry, to cut in, Jade, why don't we continue maybe for one or two more minutes and see if we can tighten up something with Kirby.
Yeah, so I pulled up the website earlier when you were talking about it. I see that you offer online classes. I'm assuming there may also be some sort of in-person component if you end up wanting to do something with someone who's close by. But the fact that you are positioned to do online classes, I think makes digital marketing make sense on that front. We do have marketers who can do local business marketing too. So I guess what I'm getting at is the differences between those. And then you mentioned that you have this e-commerce component that you would also like to focus a bit on. With something like this, where you are still all direct to consumer, you are marketing towards specific people rather than businesses, and looking for someone who can help with a services oriented approach as well as e-commerce. It sounds like you have some really good support on some of the basic marketing functions, but I would recommend, as like we were discussing earlier, a growth marketer in this sense. They would be able to come in and help give you an overall marketing strategy and help really like get things nailed down and identify where the lowest hanging fruits and areas of opportunity. Should you be focusing more on advertising in like Google or putting together a Google My Business listing for the local demographic? Or should you be focusing more so on running paid ads on social media? Is there an organic strategy that you need to be building up? They could come through, do a quick audit of what you've done so far, and then give you a strategy of where you should go, and then help you execute that strategy as well as manage the current resources you have who are doing a fine job to get you to where you're at, and leverage their skill sets so that they can make sure that they're not only continuing what they're doing, but doing so with a cohesive marketing goal and picture in mind. And yeah, if we had I'd love to set up a call to talk with you a little bit more deeply about this too. But I do think that you would get a lot of value from a growth marketer, not only for an initial audit and strategy, but to also help take over some expertise where maybe these other resources aren't able to contribute for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Jade, and Kirby. I'm gonna put you back to being attendee, but thanks so much for your question. I hope you got some of the value there, and maybe you can follow up with a call with Jade later. I'm gonna move on.
Thank you, Kirby.
Yeah. I'm gonna move on to Isaac now. We have just a couple more minutes. Let me promote you, Isaac, to panelist. And Isaac, if you're around, feel free to unmute and maybe give a 1-minute introduction about you. Looks like you are torn between organic and paid. You've been running paid first strategy for a few months and growth has plateaued. So why don't you give a quick 1-minute intro about that?
Hey, everyone. Well, Mason, Jade, thank you guys for putting this together. I joined a little late, I'm going to be honest, so I wasn't able to here I just heard the very end of the difference of CM or fractional CMO and growth marketer. So I definitely want to hear a little bit more and definitely watch the recording. So my business has been around since 2013. I'm the founder of senseofbeauty.com, and we sell or resell designer branded fragrances. So anything from Versace, YSL to new TikTok brands like Latafa. And we have our low margins, and we have some funding. We're originally in the distribution model, so we have the backing of inventory to support the growth. So we wanted to start an aggressive approach with Google ads, Google shopping ads specifically, and we were running them and we kind of plateaued. Our marketer, our current person running Google ads, we felt that just we're cutting the cord basically. Mutual agreement. They felt that the website couldn't convert well enough. We all agree on that at 1.5% conversion rate. We are currently, I don't want to call it a CRO campaign because I don't think we have enough traction to really measure the results like a traditional CRO campaign would. But we are changing some low-hanging fruit that we've seen customers complain about and ask questions. So, my real question comes into, if I'm going to be getting a marketer, I feel like there's so many directions and avenues this business can go. How do I first know which direction to take before hiring the marketer? And is that marketer, should they become part of the journey of discovering that next step? And how do I make sure that I'm hiring the correct marketer where they're not just going to push me on, oh, they're a content marketer, so they're just going to naturally say content marketing is the way to go, or I'm hiring a Google Ads expert and they're like, oh no, Google's the way to go and keep on spending money on the website. Like each person's going to swim a little bit closer to their lane.
Yes. And I guess just for a follow-up question there, you mentioned that there is a marketing person that you cut. Is there any other marketing resources that you currently have on
Yeah.
your team?
Well,
What does the team
so
look like?
our team right now, we have an SEO, more technical, not so much copywriting, where he's just cleaning up some links, some alt text, meta descriptions, but not creating new content. Then we had an email marketer. We recently parted ways, but we're in the process of bringing somebody back in. We have a small email list, maybe 15,000 people or so.
Okay.
So it's something, but we're gonna rehire for that position. And right now, in the process of, I believe, a growth marketer, but I worry that as I'm looking for a growth marketer, each growth marketer has their specialty.
Yes, and that specialty side of things is why we recommend having that like initial consult call with us so that we can really understand what your needs are. Because process wise on our end, I would get an understanding of what you're looking for and then put together a brief outlining that need. And then we would find a marketer who is catered to that specific need. Growth marketers have a very broad skill set. So you're right, maybe someone who specializes more on the paid ad side of things is always going to look and be like, hey, we should do ads more. However, I do think that the growth marketer side of things also understands the value of organic and how all of these work together for like a full 360-degree package there. So they would understand the intricacies of how each of these play off of each other and let you kind of guide you as to where you should be focusing your energy for that initial low hanging fruit, while also building out a long term strategy for where you should be building towards. For quick results, nothing's going to beat performance marketing. So any sort of ads on like paid search and paid social is likely going to be an initial focus, but you shouldn't neglect the organic side either because that's going to be your long term driver and it'll eventually become your cheapest marketing channel if you can get it running very quickly because you don't have to spend continuous dollars to nurture people through emails or anything like that. So and without understanding a much deeper knowledge, I do think that like something where a growth marketer who understands the intricacies between performance and organic marketing and how those play off of each other would likely be a great place to start.
Okay. Thank you. So, but what about that specific skill set? Like, is there a specific skill set that I should be looking at within a growth marketer that this early stage is good for?
Someone who understands like where to go once things are starting to plateau. So maybe the ads that you're running on paid search are hitting a cap for some reason and they can go in and do an audit there, but also maybe there's something else that could be done to supplement that. Honestly, I would recommend someone who just has really deep, like direct to consumer e-commerce experience and just understands the channels that would likely yield the best results. And then they can test those out and scale them up as they're seeing those results come through. Um, but yeah, it would be someone who specializes in e-commerce, direct to consumer, who understands how paid and organic plays off of each other. Would be like just the high level overview.
Okay. So focus
Awesome.
on one, that e-commerce, two, that deep understanding between paid and organic.
Correct. Yeah, because there are people who specialize in paid or organic, and we can always provide an SEO marketer or content marketer or performance marketer for you. But they would specialize in that channel. And it sounds like where you're at right now is that you focus a lot of energy on the performance side of things, and you need to find a way to drive more growth. And maybe that's channels outside of that initial performance focus.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much,
thank you.
Isaac, for your question, and Jade for your advice. I see a ton of additional interest in raising hands. We are at times, I'm going to just quickly go through a couple more slides that we have, and then for those of you who have your hands continue to raise questions, we'll get to those right after this next couple of minutes. But thanks so much for this quick demo, Jade. That was really insightful and really helpful. So let me just zoom out.
Yeah, and I will say too, while you're putting together these next steps, Heidi, I see your chat in here, so I'll go ahead and just type up a basic response here. And if you want to hang back after the meeting, I can always go over some more details once we get through this initial portion. Anyways, Mason, I'll let you take it away.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, we appreciate all the engagement here. Just wanted to quickly talk about how it works when you start an engagement, when you start talking to MarketerHire about your marketing needs, right? The most important thing are the first two boxes here, the intake form and the info gathering session. So as you kind of witnessed with what Jade was doing with Kirby and Isaac, he's trying to gather actually more nuanced questions and more nuanced needs that they have for their marketing program. And the intake form was, something that you might submit beforehand that kind of outlines your skills and your qualifications that you're looking for. But both of those items inform our matching process, which is called marketer match, right? It's a combination of AI plus actual hand selection that will vet the marketer that most adheres to your kind of parameters that you're looking for based on the info gathering session. So I don't know, Jay, if you want to like just elaborate anything more about these two first steps.
Yeah, the intake form gives me a great point of like starting so that go ahead of the call, I can look into what your business is, how long have you been around, what you think your current needs are, and it kind of helps me frame where the conversation will likely go. And then the info gathering session, I dig deeper into that, make sure that it's actually going to yield like what you're looking to get out of it. But gives me a lot more information so that I can help make sure we are not only providing the right type of marketer, but finding the right fit of a marketer within that. And then I take all that and loop it into the talent team who helps us go through our pre-vetted network to find that fit. And that's where the next steps come in.
Yep, next steps being the marketer presented to you. You're going to see their bio and everything. And then you're going to get on a quick interview / scoping session with them, which if you came to our webinar last time, it's very important to kind of scope for fit and for vibes because these people are already very skillful. So that's one of the cool things about hiring from an expert marketplace because they already have the vetted skills needed to do your job. And you just need to make sure that they have the right vibe with you. And so I don't know, Jay, do you want to have any quick overview about that? Nope.
No, our talent is solid. I can rely heavily on our talent team to find a great fit. And I know that with how thorough our vetting process is, that I can usually rely on anybody that we present. That said, I do always look over a bio and make sure they're a good fit myself before I send it to anyone before we do that presentation.
Perfect. Yep. And as you can see here, we have mostly perfect matches. Clients are always like, this is magic. This was like a perfect match. Most like 90% of the time, they'll just move forward with just getting started. There's 10% of the time you might be like, maybe this marketer was okay, but I'm not quite sure. And if that's the case, that's the beauty of our process because you can keep rematching to find that right fit. But usually the second time, you're like already there, right? Right, Jade?
Yeah, as it says here, if someone moves forward 90% of the time, it's with the first match. Usually, if something doesn't connect on that, it's because there was a detail that I didn't gather in that initial scoping session. But once we have that detail, we do the rematch, present another candidate quickly, and usually the second candidate is a pretty solid fit there.
Yep. And all of this, by the way, all these steps are free. You're not charged until you get started with the marketer. Is that correct, Jade?
Correct. Yeah, all of our billing on current engagements are based on time, and that would only be invoiced once the marketer is giving you that time.
Perfect. And so just quick, our marketers have worked with pretty much every single company in every category that you can name. And so there's likely a marketer that will fit with your industry and your business. Right? So to get started, we have our hire form here. You can definitely reply to the emails that you were sent by us. You can talk to Jade. But now we can go to the rest of the Q&A. We have like, I think 8 more minutes before this webinar officially runs out of time. And so let's Trevor, why don't we, sorry,
And
go
then
ahead.
after Trevor, I would recommend Heidi. She had her hand up pretty early
Okay,
on too, so I want to make
okay,
sure she's not just sitting.
great. Trevor, why don't you go first and 2 minutes.
Yeah, awesome. I don't know how to turn my video on. It's not letting me, so I would if I could. So unsure if you can, but yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I have a question here. I'll just keep it to audio for now. So I have a full-time team of 5. I run.
Oh, you're
Oh,
breaking up.
I run. Oh,
Okay, there you
sorry.
are. Yeah, you run.
Yeah, I run franchisefilming.com. So we specialize in making marketing content for the franchise space. And we have never had a dedicated marketer. And I think it's time for us to finally take that leap. But what I want to ask you guys is I tend to make one person the master of 6 things. So knowing that we don't have a marketer, what is the most pressing thing that person should do? Like we are marketing, but no one is owning that task, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record here, but likely a growth marketer in that sense, someone who understands like the full marketing picture and where your energy should be focused and can put it all into a cohesive goal. If you have team members who are currently executing, they can help manage those resources for you as well and just button everything up so that everything is working towards like one full marketing strategy rather than everyone working in independent parts that may not be playing off of each other as efficiently.
So would a great example be something like if we make if I speak at a show right now, no one knows about it unless you follow us on LinkedIn, right? So this person would then manage the person that took photos of me on site. They would make a blog post, they would schedule it. So that's probably the first missing role is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and depending on what the execution, like the output you're looking for would be and something like that, we do have content marketers who can help put together that blog post for you and help manage getting that messaging out there. However, if the question is more so like what is the best way to get the message out rather than what is the best way to put together the message, then the growth marketer would be better for getting the message out there. Whereas putting together
Yeah.
the messaging itself, a content marketer would be able to help you.
Okay, awesome. I actually have a call with one of your guys Wednesday, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you happen to know who that's with just before you jump off?
I can tell you in 3 seconds, and it is Allison.
Oh, awesome. You're going to be in great hands with Allison. I'll
Yeah.
check in with her after this call too, just to
Okay.
have her say hi for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Trevor. And Jay, did you say Heidi was next?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks for your patience, Heidi.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I don't know how to
Welcome.
show my picture either. Sorry, I don't have those controls.
It's okay. Yeah, Zoom likes to add just like weird nuanced issues for us. So I appreciate you joining in via audio here. And I did see the message that you sent here. So just to address that off the top, great job making it this far as a solopreneur for 17 years while also raising children. I have a daughter myself, so I understand how difficult that can be to get everything together. In the chat, you mentioned, oh, go ahead.
Especially being the mom and being a mother is a priority for me because my mom liked being pregnant. She didn't like being a mother. So so that was a really big priority for my spirit to be a mom. And so, yeah, I'm a metaphysician. I help people heal.
Amazing. Yeah.
From everything. Mm-hmm.
And in the chat that you sent over, you mentioned that you had deleted pretty much everything. So you stopped all marketing, deleted your website, social, and everything like that. Then you mentioned that you hired a web developer for websites. So are you currently working on rebuilding those things back up? And is that where you need support?
Yeah, I need support rebuilding everything because after the near-death experience, I got clarity about where I can be, where like my niche as a metaphysician slash, people put me in the category of healer, but I can't heal anyone, right? We all have our own way to heal, and I can just hold space for that. And so, and that is helping people rise above food cravings. I have a very effective process and protocol that gets rid of cravings very quick.
Amazing.
And I need help getting it out there because I'm starting over on social media. I gradually, incrementally only have like 139 followers on Instagram. And so engagement is crazy low. But then I see people in real life and they're like, oh my God, I love your videos, but they're not liking or commenting.
Yeah, well, and likes and comments and things like that gets into what some call like vanity metrics. In the end, what you're trying to get is sales and people who are actually booking with you and things like that. So an organic social approach is a great way for like social proofing, making sure people know you're out there, and as they're doing research, they can get a better understanding of what you do. However, if you're looking to bring in more like opportunities for you to close on particular leads, likely supplementing that with some sort of paid strategy as well to get the message in front of more people may be beneficial. And honestly, if you're getting things started fresh, it's a great time to find an expert marketer who can help get things set up right from the beginning rather than having to come in and fix things later on. So you can get things going and built up from scratch with a really solid base rather than building it up, having to go back in and fix things from the ground up as well. But I've worked with clients who are similar to where you are at right now and your space. So I believe I can get your email from the contact list here. So I can send you a follow-up email and we can dig in a little bit deeper about these things and really elaborate from there. I know we're coming up on time, so I don't want to cut things off midway. But I do think it'd be worth having a conversation about finding an expert who can help you build things up right.
Yeah. Support at Emerge Gently. And I know I needed a rebrand. I know, like I started because I just needed to start with something, but I know I need something else.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll send you a direct email following this and we can follow up from there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. I'm going to, get you off the panelist area. And Diane, I know we have so my webinar lead said that this meeting might end by 45. So if that happens, I'm sorry, but we can follow with you. But I'm going to allow you to talk. And as long as it allows us to keep talking to you, go ahead and ask your question. Diane, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you coming through.
Oh, okay. So I own two other business, but I'm getting ready to launch this new business line. And I'm just beginning. And I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure I probably need to set up a meeting. And one of those is, where do I begin when it especially with the marketing? And then I'm also trying to figure out what platform or would be best for the type of business I'm doing. Maybe, the marketing people could help with that. So yeah. So I got a lot of stuff I need answered based on what I'm trying to do next with this next business. Because the other ones were easy to do. I mean, was there. Not that the business was easy, but where to put it and what platform and all that other stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, great job getting started on a new business here. I know that's a big hurdle to tackle.
Mm,
And when you're getting things started early on, you're wearing all of the hats. So
mhm.
we could help find a marketer who can at least take that hat off for you and help give guidance. They would be able to also identify, like, hey, based on what type of industry you're in and where your goals are, I would recommend this sort of tech stack. That way you can scale effectively. Maybe it's as simple as like recommending where your website should be built on or what your management platforms look like. Maybe you need a specific CRM for what your goals are. But all of that stuff that a growth marketer can help with, and then to manage those like specific aspects, we could also place additional resources to help scale up from there. Um, but yeah, I do think that it'd be worth having like a full call, but just from like a high level, what space is this new business going to be operating in? Is it like direct to consumer? Is it B2B? And then what are you offering from there?
Direct to consumers.
Okay. And then are you providing products or services?
Services.
What niche of space is these services, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm in the
Okay,
yeah, space.
perfect. And when for financial services, is that like managing finances for an individual? Is it just like kind of
No,
giving
I'm
like
not gonna be,
classes?
yeah, no managing is just basically, I thought about this for years, but I didn't want to do it. My background is in finance. I'm in real estate, but on the capital market side, financial side. So I've had friends who come, who have asked, and I just be like, oh, I don't want to do this. But they keep asking me for help, to how they can better manage their finance and how to invest and all of that. Not so much doing the investment for them, but having guidance along the way because
Okay.
I've done pretty well in that side for myself. And
Okay,
so
so like
that's
kind of
what
a
is
a coaching slash like
education
teaching
consulting.
role.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for like direct to consumer services, especially something that might be in the finance space, um, lots of different avenues that we can go there. So I would
Yeah, I
need
know.
a lot of questions to dig in there. Um, but would love to set up a follow-up call with you to dig in a little deeper and help get a search going. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that especially given that it's a new business, as I'd mentioned previously with Heidi, it's also
Mhm.
a great time to get things started on the right foot.
Right.
Um, where I see a lot of time and energy coming and like
Hmm.
it driving up costs is fixing things that are broken. So
Right.
you can save a lot of money by getting things started off in the right space rather than just getting it done and then having to come back and redo it later.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. I did that in real estate and I spent tons of money. And I'd be like, okay, I'm tired of y'all.
Yep.
Spend a lot of money trying to get it right. Yeah. So I get it. So I figured this time I'm gonna start off on the right track.
Yes, and we would be happy to help you get that started off on the right foot too. I'm sure Mason or myself will follow up, and I'll get you a link to one of our team's calendars, and then we can dig in deeper from there and see if we can get a search
Okay.
going for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Diane.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, so appreciate everybody's engagement. And I see this one last, I guess the webinar did not end, but we will be wrapping up right now. I see one last question, which is from eBits.
Yeah, and I took a note of that, Ebits. I will look at the contact form on our end and see what's happening there and have someone
Yeah,
follow up with you. Looks like your name's Eric. So yeah, Eric, we'll follow up with you.
Fair, yes. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. And thank you, Jade, especially for all the live demos that you did.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely worth it to do a little bit more regularly as people start, coming in, being interested in hiring marketers. So we will have future events more like this. thank you so much and have a great day. And please reach out to continue these conversations with us.